Hi there. Welcome to another Life is All About Choices. All right, you guys, every week I say I have an amazing person for you to meet today. And again, I'm going to say, I'm just going to say it again. I have known my guest today for, gosh, I think almost 10 years, and she's amazing. And you are going to walk away from this conversation feeling like, what? That's how much she's going to blow your mind. So stay tuned. My special guest today, Veronika Winski. Veronika, welcome.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's so good to see you. And you're right, I cannot believe it's been so many years that we've known
I
each other.
I know. Gone through so much, and not in a negative way, but just learned, experience. That would be a better way to say it. And
Yes.
I truly feel blessed to have you in my life, girl.
Thank you. Same here.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about the dream life formula. But before we go any farther, Veronika, tell everybody who you are, what you do, and why you're so fabulous.
Well, I'm Veronika, and I work mainly with successful women on helping them in having the right mindset and energy in creating the next chapter of their dream lives. And why am I fabulous? Well, I've been through a lot, and this dream life formula really came together from all these different life experiences, so that now I have the honor of guiding others to show them what's truly possible and seeing these amazing results. So yeah, the work that I do really humbles me.
That's a good way to put it. I often say the same thing, Veronika. I feel so humbled. And it sounds like just words, but it's really how I feel a lot of the time. I in awe, like, oh my gosh, I get to do this work. Whoa. And I totally understand what you're saying. I do.
Yes.
So, Veronika, life is all about choices. Just about everyone who's ever had this a conversation with me on this channel has talked about something in their life that they've overcome, something that maybe, I don't know, another person would have said, "That's it, I'm done. I quit. I don't want to do life anymore. I can't handle this anymore." And I've been noticing a lot of your recent posts lately. You've been sharing something now. You have a wee bit of an accent. So I know that you came into this country, didn't speak English. And can you just talk a little bit about the challenge that you had around that?
Well, actually, the first big life challenge did happen right after I arrived in this country. And it was right when I was entering high school. So, as you can imagine, entering into the teenage years, last thing you want to do is be separated from your friends. And in Poland, you are with the same group of people from grade 1 through grade 8. So you form very strong bonds and friendships. So then I was taken out of there to US, and 3 months after we moved here, unexpectedly my father passed away.
Mm.
So that was very, very traumatizing. And in the beginning, if somebody told me that this is the life I would create for myself and live, I would say, no way. Because at that time, all of my dreams got shattered because my father was like the leader of this small little army of ours. And there was only four of us. And then it was down to three. So from there, that's where the choices came in.
Mm-hmm.
But as a teenager, you don't really realize that you can make choices that are uniquely yours.
Right.
So what I started to do is observe, what are other people doing and what are they talking about? Where do I go from here? Because I have no idea. I barely spoke any English. People thought that I'm, stupid, or I didn't make hardly any friends. And all I wanted to do was go back. But from what I was like, I knew that my father brought us here to have a better future. So the first choice was actually my mom's choice to stay here and to figure it out. And by her making that choice, I made the choice to, okay, stick it out, be here, do my best. And from what I discovered from observing other people and being told by authority, teachers and guidance counselors, that what you need to do to create this American dream
Yeah.
was to get good grades. I had to get good grades because if I didn't, then I could not get into college because there was no college fund for me. So the only way I could get to college, which was the next thing that I thought I must do, is get good grades, go to college, and then from there get a good job. And while I was in college, I went to Florida State University, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I entered there with a international business major, and I got accepted. It was one of the top 3 schools in the nation for that particular major. Once I did get in, I wanted to change my mind about the direction in which I wanted to go in, because my passion has always been the mind and human behavior and helping people create change in their life through changing their mind and their behaviors. However, we have to really pay attention to what people of what we see as authority tell us. Because at that time, when I was speaking to I guess counselor, you call them, at Florida State, and I voiced to them that I would like to, do this type of work. They said that the only way to do that was to get a PhD in psychology or psychiatry. So at that time, that didn't resonate with me, so I didn't. And that was, now I'm glad I didn't, because now I get to work with people that do have PhDs in psychology and psychiatry, and I see how limiting that field was, because there's so many other ways that we can help people, but through having that title, I would have been placed in a box. And I did. I kind of placed myself in a box with my business major. And from there, I thought that, well, I always loved to travel and I always loved exploring the world. So I thought, well, I am going to study international business. And that's how I get back into traveling and travel, since we traveled with my family when I was younger. But that was not the case.
So, one of the things that I heard you say was when we put all of our, when we ask questions to people who, I'm going to do air quotes, say they know more than we do, and then we take their word as gospel, like truth, this is the way it has to be, we're limiting ourselves.
Yes, because there is really, now I've learned, there is no one way. There is so many different ways, and if you cannot find a way that resonates with you, pave your own way.
Exactly. I love it. One of the things that I talk about a lot, as you know me, is that everything that we have learned is either based on a lie, a half truth, an innuendo, a secret, from someone in our life who was teaching us something. And of course, they're going to teach based on their forthcomings or shortcomings. They're going to teach based on what they believe. And it's not that they're trying to teach ineffectually or they're trying to teach wrong. They're simply teaching the way they were taught. So when we keep this cycle going, then it's like generation after generation that's being taught to live a certain direction or live a certain way, according to antiquated thinking, or thinking based on half-truths, lies, innuendos, supposition, and plain old not even understanding.
I completely agree. It's all in a way made up. It's somebody's point of view or opinion.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is. And in all reality, who decided that something is right, something is wrong, something is good, something is bad? I mean, we're even seeing now in science, things that they thought are so solid and so true, now they are changing their minds. It's not like
Exactly.
that.
Yep.
So now, many years after that, I know that the truth for you and for us is whatever feels light. If somebody shares something with us and it lights up our being, then that's a yes.
Yes.
And if somebody shares with us something and tells us this is the right way, and you feel heavy and like, oh, that's a no for you. No, thank
Exactly.
you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is people don't often realize that our feelings are driving the bus, so to speak, of our life, of our minds. And when we are up against a decision or dealing with another person, an event, an experience, and it makes us feel heavy or um, I don't want to use the word wrong, but that's the direction that I'm going, makes us feel like something about this isn't right, because there is no right or wrong. That's what your intuition, your higher self is giving you, an indication of, okay, so maybe we want to steer it this way. And then when we sit in the heaviness, the not feeling good about it, or the feeling like this is it, I'm stuck, what else am I going to do? Um, that becomes familiar. And so to try to step out of your familiar feelings of familiarity, that feels wrong. Again, air quotes. So when anything that feels wrong, we create a fear around it. Oh, that can't be right. I must be doing something wrong. And then when we create a fear, we tend not to go there, not to open up, not to try something. So like you said, you went to counselors and they said, okay, if you want to do this, you have to do this. And not having the tools, skills, ability, knowledge at that time that you do now, you went with what you were told to do or suggested to do. Now, again, I think it's really two things right here are really important. Number one, that we never, 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 and if we do, we stop blaming people for where we are,
That's
because
correct.
people can only teach us based on what they know, what they've been taught, and they're doing their best. Just like if you're watching or listening to this conversation and you feel like we're full of smoke and you don't believe a word that we're saying, that's okay. We're not resonating with you. So, you know, listen to your higher self. However, I will say that everything happens for a reason. And if you chose this video, there's a reason for that as well. So, everything is a learning process.
Yes. And one lesson that sometimes, even when we choose something because it feels right and light to us, when we go into it, our mind turns on and it wants to talk us out of it.
Yes.
It
Yes.
happens all the time. And it's because we have these subconscious programs that have been created, and it's like a computer hard drive. And you have all these programs in there, and that program only does want to bring in that which you are familiar with and that which is going to keep you in that program. So for example, if you're like, oh, I want to watch this video, and you're watching it and your mind turns on and it begins to talk story, instead of giving into the story, if you just acknowledge it and then stick with it. That was my one of the biggest lessons recently, is
Mm-hmm.
even though you do take action based on the divine guidance, the mind is going to drive you crazy and it's going to
Yes.
try to talk you out of it. And
Mhm.
it's trusting yourself that you made the right choice and sticking with it all the way through. And at the end, it's like magic. It's like poof, the voice all of a sudden disappears. And then the voice not only disappears, then it comes back and it's on your side again. It's like, oh yeah, we were right all along.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. And when you give yourself I like to say, when you give yourself permission to explore, I saw something yesterday. I thought it was really interesting. If you wake up every morning and ask yourself, why is today going to be the best day of my life? And I thought about that for a while, and I thought, what a great question to ask yourself, because, if when we give our mind a question, our mind will work 24/7 to try to find the answer. So imagine, like, every day you ask yourself, why is today going to be the best day of my life? And then tomorrow you ask yourself the same thing. And then the next day, every day is better and better and better, because your mind is working 24/7 to make today the best day of your life. I love that.
Yes, I agree. I like that question. The question I ask is, what would it take for today to be the best day ever?
I like that too. I like that.
So
Yes.
there's many different ways. Again, there's no right or wrong. It's finding what resonates with you, because if you pick something as a rightness and it doesn't really resonate with you, then it's just words.
Mm-hmm.
But when you find something that resonates with you, it gains oomph, and it gains strength to attract that which you're asking for with even more ease and more speed.
Yeah, it's like momentum. You start with like
Yes.
this little ball of energy, maybe just like, right here doing this, and then it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And when you can create this energetic force that just keeps getting larger around you, and it's a force of positivity and happiness and joy and um, hopefulness, and it's like, what could I do next? What could I try next? um, that gives you, that's empowering, because now you're not limiting yourself. Now you're saying, whoa, this feels really good. I'm just going to keep going in that direction and keep following that feeling. Again, we're back to feelings.
Yes. And, I think for the longest time, we've been told to suppress our feelings, or to
Yes.
just get over it, or to stop being such a baby, or stop being such a, dreamer, get your head out of the clouds. But really, the feelings and emotions is like our GPS,
Mm-hmm.
because we cannot create magic and beauty in our lives if we are feeling down, if we are putting ourselves down and judging ourselves, judging others, judging everything around us. So the more that we can stay in that feeling of high vibration, the faster we can attract that which we say we desire to have in our lives, because talking is cheap.
Yep, exactly. You know, um, Several Christmases ago, it was interesting. My grandson, I think he was like 3 at the time, and he had asked Santa for a specific gift. And it was interesting because on Christmas Eve, we were getting ready to put the children to bed. He got this basket ready, and he set it at the bottom of the steps, and we said, Henry, what are you doing? And he's like, well, I'm putting this basket here so Santa could put my gift in it. And he was so absolutely sure that when he came downstairs the next morning, it was going to be there. There was no question in his mind. It was absolutely, it's just going to be. I asked for it. I know it's going to happen. It's going to be. And I often, I actually have a Post-it note right here, believe like Henry, because every single time I look at that note and I remember his total belief, his total commitment that what he wanted or something better was going to manifest when he came downstairs the next morning. And I feel that, when we can all believe like Henry, when we can say, I want this, and oftentimes, we can only ask for what we know. So we limit ourselves, like we say, okay, I want to make, I don't know, $50 an hour, because maybe that's like all that we can imagine. Like, oh my gosh, $50 an hour, I would be so amazing, and my life would be perfect, and no one in my family has ever made $50 an hour before. But again, it's limitless. What we can ask for is limitless. And then when you can surpass that $50 mark, and you keep going and you keep going and keep going. So you see, it's about not putting a cap, not putting a ceiling. So we always want to say, I would like to have this or something better. Give the universe the opportunity to understand what you're feeling and what you want to manifest, and make it even bigger for you, because that's what happens. And it's just like Veronika was saying, that when you limit yourself and you say, well, I can't do that, that's when we walk around saying, see, this stuff doesn't work. These people don't know what they're talking about. I tried what they said. And, usually when someone says that to me, I'm like, oh, how long did you try? 3 days. So, it's really about understanding that feeling, like, what do you want? And oftentimes, um, you know, people will be taught to imagine what it would feel like if you already had it. So, Veronika, what would you suggest to someone who wants something in their life really, really badly, but they can't, I mean, they want it, they say they want it, but they can't get to that point of feeling what it feels like to have it so that they can manifest it because they've never had it. So how do they know how to feel it? What would your suggestion be?
I would suggest start with something small, something smaller. Like, let's say you desire to make, let's make it a little more outrageous. You desire to maybe make $1 million, but your mind, that subconscious mind, is doesn't have that in its programming, because like you said, your family, the teachers, people you've been around in your community, they didn't program that belief in you that it's possible. So no matter how many times your conscious mind says, I want to have $1 million, your subconscious mind, which is 95% of your actions and thoughts and everything that comes through every day, says, no way, that's not part of the program.
Yep.
However, how would you feel if you did have $1 million? Probably exuberant, safe, yummy. So go back to events in the past or things that you think of that make you feel that way. And then when you are in that feeling of love, of yumminess, then put out the question, because it's all about asking the universe, what would it take for me to be a $1 million earner with effortless ease right away? And you always want to put, when you're asking, because unless you ask, how are you going to receive?
Exactly.
Asking is the same as praying, because when you're praying, you're asking, oh God, please give me this. It's the same, however you want to word it. But if you say that you would like it to show up with effortless ease and right away, and you are in that state of feeling the love and yumminess, then your communication out is received much faster. And through repetition of telling yourself, I am ready to be a $1 million a year earner, if you keep repeating it, and like you said, not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 10 times, over and 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 over again. Because the subconscious mind gets reprogrammed through repetition, because it's a habitual mind. Or you can work with someone that can get into that subconscious mind and help you with the reprogramming, or find tools which are completely available for you to speed up the process, because now it's possible. In the past, we thought it's going to take such a long time, but you can interject those old limiting beliefs through certain techniques to get the subconscious mind reprogrammed, because once it's reprogrammed, then it's in complete alignment with you attracting that which you desire into your life. Exactly. So repetition and asking for what you desire while you're in the state of the feeling that you know you will get when you have that which you're asking for. Because it's not really about the thing. It's about that feeling and how you will feel and be when you get it.
Exactly. So when, ask yourself, like, well, what do you want to do with the $1 million? Once you're a $1 million income earner, what do you want to do with that? And, how are you going to turn around and pay it forward? What is your service to others going to be? And, Veronika, you said something about praying and sending that prayer up to the universe. But what a lot of people don't realize is they're also praying for the negative that comes into their life. So on a daily basis, when you say, oh, I'm so I'm so tired of going through this. I'm so tired of dealing with this. I'm so tired of experiencing this. I'm so tired of, that is a prayer as well. Every thought we think,
Mm-hmm.
every that comes into word and we express it out into the universe is a prayer.
Yes.
So you can either pray something that you really want to bring into your life, or you can continue to pray for what you don't want in your life. The choice is ours. See, again, life is all about choices. We get to choose what we think about, what we dream about, what we manifest. We get to choose all of it. And this is why it's so important to understand that we build our lives from the inside out, not the outside in. And Veronika, like you were talking about the guidance counselors who were telling you you have to do this, this, and this, they were of that thinking that this is how you build your life from the outside in. And, generationally, if you look back, that's the way many, many, many people believe. Now we understand, no, we have the power to build our life from the inside out. So what does that look like? And get a hold of your feelings, like really stop and think, like, what do I feel about this? How does this make me feel? And when there's something that you're experiencing that is the opposite feeling of the way you want to feel, you can shift that. And when Veronika says you can reprogram your mind, when you think about it like a computer, but it's not like mind washing. Is that what it's called?
No, yeah.
Brainwashing. It's about understanding that our minds are the most powerful tool, weapon, ability that we have. And people think it's about the physical, but it's not about the physical. It's about the mental. Your mind creates your life. What you're seeing externally is a creation for what you believe internally. Veronika, one of the things I love about your website, just going to your website when you walk in, I'm going to say, it feels like you want to walk into it. That's why I said that. It's so inviting. But what I love about it's this beautiful picture of what is and what can be. I see possibilities. And, so when you're listening to this conversation that we have and you're trying to get a visual to put you in that mood or that frame of mind or that feeling, gone over to her website and look at her sitting there on the beach looking at, is it a sunrise or a sunset?
Sunset, and it's actually not me. It's a
It's
photo from.
it's not you? Oh
No,
my gosh, I could have sworn it was you.
no, no.
Oh, it's
It's
such
a.
a beautiful picture. Well,
Thank
see
you.
there, it's all,
Well chosen photo.
but it's so inviting. And so what is it that you want to feel? If you can't bring that up for yourself, go through the internet and start looking at something that will bring that feeling to you. And that's why vision boards are so powerful, because we're actually taking pictures. And what are we saying? We're like, oh man, I'd like to live in that house, or oh man, I'd like to visit there. Oh man, I'd like to eat there, or drive that, or whatever it is. So gather those pictures, something that puts you in that mindset and that mindfulness of, yes, this is what it feels like to have it. And again, you're expanding your thought consciousness, your energy. It just keeps expanding. And then once it goes outside of you, now you're in it rather than trying to get in it. You're in it and it's just a part of you. And it envelops you, and you can create whatever you want.
Yes, and now, in the past, we used to use the vision boards only on paper, cut
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
magazines, put the stuff on, and that is great. However, there's so many other ways that you can begin to create that vision and connect with the feeling. So many times people complain about their social media and about Facebook and how negative it is and blah, 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 all that. Well, do you know that the Facebook feed reflects what you are searching? So if through social media, through mainly like Instagram or Pinterest, where it's all visual based, if you search for things that bring you joy and things that you would like to experience and be in it, then those are your vision boards. What you focus on and what you search is what's going to keep being reflected onto you. So there's no excuse for anybody, because even on Google, whatever you type in, that's it's going to give you suggestions. It's going to pop up ads. So it's a reflection of what you're focusing on. So if you're not happy with what you're seeing, check yourself.
That's a good point that you bring that up. So many times I have researched something and then I'll go onto Facebook and there's an ad for it right there. So if you can imagine, like you're Googling how to be happier, um, happy things are going to come up. So pay attention to what it is that you're looking for. Are you Googling how to be happier, or are you Googling how not to be sad? Because when you're thinking about sad and sadness, you're going to manifest more things that make you sad or put you in a situation of sadness and, not feeling like you want to feel. And this is, I love that you said the magic of it. My other grandson, he's really into the Harry Potter, and I sent him a wand, and when he got it, it lights up at the end. And I love just that he's at that age where he wants to believe that he could do this and make something happen, and yet he's at that age where I know that's not possible. And when we can maintain that what if it's possible, what if, because everything is possible. And I'm not here saying that, you can wave a wand and something's going to happen, but think about that feeling that he has, that excitement, that anticipation of what if I could do this and it would happen. That's what we want you to ask yourself every day. Like, what if this comes into my life? What if I believe that? Right? We have a choice, right, Veronika? We could wake up every day and say, I'm just going to say it's not possible, it's not going to happen. Or we could say to ourselves, well, what if? What if? And then we really want to pay attention to our thoughts.
And I believe, like, in our reality, we almost do have a magic wand. But with that magic wand, we attach expectation as to how fast it shows up. Because unlike in movies, the manifestation most of the time doesn't show up quite like that. It could, if you became the sensei, as you say, that's your word, of being in such pure alignment with the feeling and the desire and quieting the mind and trusting like Henry trusts, then watch and not judging how it shows up.
Right.
And you just take those steps like a child does. They don't think about it. Oh, it sounds like fun. They just do it. You will be amazed as to how fast that magic wand can work.
And Veronika, one of the things that I really appreciate about you is I've watched you over the years, and how I'm going to say daily, every day, as you built on that thought process of ask and receive, ask and receive. I mean, since the day that I met you, regardless of what you were doing, it was always that ask and receive, and it's going to happen. I'm waiting for it to happen because I know it's going to happen. You've always had that belief that or something bigger is going to come along. And you're leading your life exactly that way. And you're also encouraging others to open their minds to be able to live their life that way. And that's not saying like live life like Veronika, what, WWVD, what would Veronika do? but you're teaching them to have that mindset of what is possible. And I have watched you, and that's not to say that you've never had challenges. I've also seen you have challenges, but it's how you've come out of the challenges.
Yes, and that's one big thing, that when we ask for something that's really big, we have to be ready for that to show up. And many times, like, I did go through many lives since we've met, and through every time I do receive that which I ask for, but that doesn't come without a price in a way.
Right.
It's almost like the whole life as you know it sometimes has to get wiped out. And in that moment when you're in so much turmoil, that's when those tools come into play. Because it's easy to say, oh, well, what would it take for this to happen or that? And when things are going good. But when everything feels like it's crashing around you, that and your mind, that's when the mind is like, abort the mission, let's just go back to how things were. We were okay over there.
Right.
You say, no, we are moving forward. And while you're in this, I'll say it, shitstorm, because that's literally what it is, and not allowing yourself to get stuck in it, but with your mind, because that's your navigator, keep your vision alive and keep tapping into those feelings, no matter how small increments they might come in, because when you're in the middle of that storm, it's not so easy to access those light feelings. But that's when we can get help from mentors, from books, from working online. There's no reason for us to get stuck, because when we get stuck in it and forget that this storm is happening because we've asked for something really, really big. And it's just part of the process, and not judging the process, but just moving forward. And as the steps show up to show you where to go next, take them. Because gosh, that happened to me so many times. You're like, wow, you live such a magical life. I'm like, well, yes. However, behind the scenes, many times I go through a lot of life wipeouts.
Yeah.
And they continue, and everybody experiences them. But most of the time, people don't share that with people because it's not so pleasant.
Yeah. It's like we're on the stage and you're seeing the beautiful performance that's going on stage. But if you walk backstage and you see that the costumes are all, thrown everywhere because everyone's getting ready to be on stage. And something that was coming up for me when you were talking, when you think about, stepping into that next step or that next phase or what it is that you asked for, I came up with this image of a house. Let's say you want to move from the house you're in to a bigger house. Now, what's that going to take? It means that you have to pack up everything that you have to take it to the new house, you have to unpack, you have to find a place for it. And that's kind of how we are every single day. We say, oh yeah, I want the bigger house, but I don't want to do the work. I don't want to pack this crap up. I don't want to go out and buy the boxes. And then I got to find a place to put them. And then I got to get a mover and all that. I'll just stay in this little house that has one bathroom and there's, 4 of us fighting for the bathroom every morning, and that's what we do every day. We stay in that place where we say we don't want to be, because we put this heaviness into what it takes to get there. When really what we can say is, I want to move to a bigger house and I want someone to come and move me, and I want it to be easy and effortless.
Mm-hmm.
Simple.
You ask for that, and then it begins to show up. However, sometimes, like I had to go recently to go through a sale of my home, and I thought like, oh yeah, it was going to be like this. It was not. It was completely not. And I've had people come to me and say, how is it that you're going through so much turmoil and your life is crazy and everything that you thought how it's going to be, it's not, yet you are so calm and you're not reacting to it? And my answer is because I trust the process.
Yeah.
Like I see that I had this expectation. That's why we have to let go of the expectations, because how you think it's going to be, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I experienced so much hardship, but because I kept the big vision alive and I trusted that all the stuff that's showing up that could be interpreted as like, oh my God, just maybe throw in the towel now and just give up. I knew that I have to keep going. And then because I trusted, the part that's normally the most stressful for people with the house sale was the easiest for me. But it's because I stuck through the storm.
Right.
And it wasn't hard. It wasn't hard. People were like, oh my gosh, with the right mindset and right attitude and having the tools to get you through that, you can get through anything. And when other people think it's like, oh my gosh, so crazy, you're like, no, it's completely fine. I'm fine.
And one one of the ways of living is when you make this your way of being, when you learn the tools, you understand the power of your higher self, the power of manifesting and living your life from the inside out. When you learn that, the beauty of it is when something comes along that doesn't go the way you expected or wanted, you have the tools to ride out the storm in a much calmer way, in a much more believable way, as in believing that everything is working out for the best, rather than I'll say like the old way of doing it, where, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? How am I going to get this? Now this happened. Oh my gosh, you know, and it, when you learn to stop reacting and simply ride the wave and flow and let it be, life is so much more beautiful.
Exactly.
Veronika, please tell everyone how they can get a hold of you and how they can just see the beauty of your website. It's just beautiful.
Well, the website is thedreamlifeformula.com. And you can find me on Facebook under Dream Life Formula. And I invite everybody to not only come and see my beautiful website, but take full advantage of the free tools that I have on my website, because I'm really on a mission of helping people, mainly women, to succeed and to break out of the old patterns and create their amazing next chapters of their dream lives, because the next chapter doesn't have to look anything like the last chapters of your life.
Right.
And I have free resources, even a free online class. So please take full advantage of that.
Awesome.
Thedreamlifeformula.com.
Perfect. You know, and pay attention to what's coming to you. And I know every year on my birthday, I always take some time to assess like where I've been and where I want to go and how I can play bigger in my life. And I would have to admit that for the last couple birthdays, I've been have had this knowing like, okay, more getting out in front of people. And I thought, well, how can I do that? Get on stage more? I mean, talk to people more. And, you know, when you ask the question, how can I do that? The answer is revealed to you. And one of the answers is this YouTube channel that I created. I find the most amazing guests to have conversations with, to open the minds of the viewers or the listeners, however you're viewing this, whether you're watching it or you're listening to it while you're driving. Because it's people from all walks of life who, like I said, have been in a situation where they felt like, I can't handle this anymore. Life is just giving me too much. I'm done. I don't want to do this. And instead of throwing in the towel, they said, you know, no, I'm gonna find a way out of this. So when, you know, life said, that's it, you can't do it, they all said, watch me, myself included, Veronika included. And that's one of the reasons that I created this YouTube channel. It's an opportunity for me to pay it forward, to not only share my gifts, my talents, my excitement of life, but also to have the universe bring me wonderful, beautiful people to have these conversations with. Some of them I've known in the past, some of them I'm just meeting and meeting them on social media. But what we're doing is we all have this like-minded vision of empowering others, of lifting people up. And that's what this channel is all about. And Veronika, I so, so, so appreciate you being part of that and saying
Thank
yes
you.
to being here, because I know your mission is strong, and I know the work that you're doing with women is so empowering. And we must get to a point where we look back at history and say, okay, there are so many women who have paved the way for us to be where we are right now, and then add technology to that. There's nothing we can't do. We can do, be, or have anything that we want in this world if we'll simply open our mind and say, all right, everything is possible. So when I'm coming up with the impossible, I'm just going to take that as my fear self saying, you know what, you're taking that next step. And are you sure you want to do that? And it is a heck yeah, man, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to take that next step. And, so maybe this video that you're watching could be something that will give you that courage or that knowing or that openness to just plant a seed in your mind and say, all right, I don't know if these women know what they're talking about, but I'm sure catching their vision, I'm catching the energy that they're putting out there. And I'm just going to say, what if? And that's all you have to start with. What if? And that'll start just like one little pinprick of light. And then that light, it'll just get bigger and bigger and bigger. And you'll just open yourself to a world that you never thought possible, or you didn't even know it was there. And then you can say, oh my gosh, it was waiting for me all the time. All I had to do is get out of my own way or step out of my mind. Right, Veronika?
Yep, exactly.
So if something that we've shared here has sparked something in you, opened up a door in your mind, share the videos, subscribe to our channel, let others know, like, hey, they're doing something to actually open the minds and free the minds of people so that we can stop believing in all of those old um, beliefs and limiting beliefs that were stopping us in the past. We can actually start going forward now and saying, all right, everything is possible. That means what I want is too, or something better, and just have forward life rather than living life in the past and feeling like we're stuck, we can't do anything. That would be so amazing to just keep sharing that message and just keep vibrating that, have that ripple effect. Don't you think, Veronika?
Absolutely.
So Veronika, again, thank you so much for being a guest.
Thank you.
Remember, go check her out at thedreamlifeformula.com. Look at her beautiful website. Look at what she has to offer. And in the meantime, remember, life is all about choices. So in the meantime, this is Nancy Muller. I'm Veronika Winski saying ciao for now.